Hello and welcome back to Eurovision 365. Welcome back, of course, if you've been here before. But if you are a new viewer to the channel, hello and thanks for being here. So, Ireland's Eurosong returned to our screens once again, and anticipation was high around the type of competition that RTE would be presenting in 2024. Prior to the competition taking place, we already knew that the submission window had been extended, which in itself raised questions around the calibre of entries that had been received. There was also confirmation towards the end of the year that the Late Late Show would be the format that would be used once again to select the Irish entry for Eurovision. Cue internal sigh across the Eurovision fandom right across Ireland and beyond. Ireland are at this stage, I think it is fair to say, at rock bottom. The results over the last number of years have been dismal and have made more than enough content charting the cataclysmic fall of Ireland from the glory days of the 90s. Feel free to go and check those videos out after this video, of course. There would be, as is customary, 6 musical acts who would compete on Friday night for the ticket to Eurovision. So far, so the same. Each act was introduced to us during the Ray D'Arcy show over the course of 5 days on RTE Radio 1 during the second week of January. This is a drive time show and gave us the opportunity to meet the artists and hear their song for the first time. One interesting thing about this year was RTE had decided to hold the final at the end of January as opposed to the start of February. One criticism I would make of this strategy was that it meant we only had 3 weeks to discover the artists and the songs before we would be hearing them at the Friday night final. Other national selection competitions across Europe give the audience more time to download the songs on Spotify and get fully acquainted with the artists before they take to the national final stage. After the national selection competition, interest typically wanes, and the window between artist announcement and national selection is the only window that these hopefuls have to capitalise on this national and indeed international interest. Once the selection is made, this interest rapidly diminishes, and all focus then shifts to the lucky act left clutching that ticket to Eurovision. To further entice would-be artists, the promise of a lengthy promotional window could be that carrot that outweighs the stick of having your Eurovision dreams shattered on live television. I think it is fair to say that RTE this year brought us a diverse selection of acts, including rap, non-binary Ouija pop, Irish language, girly bop pop banger, and of course boy band. This brought together the eclectic blend of musical styles from across Ireland and ensured that the national selection would provide the variety that Irish fans have been asking for. The Late Late Show this year was for the first time helmed by new presenter Patrick Kielty, who at the media event the day before revealed that he had a basic knowledge of the competition and more than once referenced Ireland's glory days. Patrick brought a charm and irreverence to proceedings and moved things along well, guiding us through the performances. Postcards made a return, however it would be nice to see some kind of transition, bringing us from postcard to performance, much like you would see at the actual Eurovision, rather than crudely dropping us into pin drop silence as the track begins. This year also saw the arrival of an actual stage, I think this represented a step up in proceedings both figuratively and literally. The internals of Studio 4 had also been reconfigured to give the set a cabaret feel, and the blazing stage bulbs spelling out the words "The Late Late Show" had been successfully obscured. I think RTE are, it is fair to say, doing the best they can with limited resources, and these changes do show a willingness to improve the look and feel of the national selection. RTE need to remember that this show attracts an audience that goes far beyond Ireland, and many international eyes will be casting a critical eye on proceedings. Check any Eurofans Twitter or X feed to get a flavour of the sentiment. The performances showed that the acts were willing to push to the absolute limits what was being afforded to them in terms of staging, and I think for the most part they all delivered. I was fortunate enough to be in the audience and I could see and feel the upturn in the production. Eventual victor Bambie, I think, was the only choice to select. If Ireland are going to crawl out of the slump that we currently find ourselves in, I think rolling the dice on an artist this left field is the only hope that we have. In any other year, if we were riding high and Ireland's Eurovision brand wasn't so tainted, I think we could have selected any of the other 5 and been comfortable with a decent result. As has been stated before, the glory days are now far behind us, and sending a generic pop ballad is now no longer an option. Post-victory, Bambie went from RTE straight to the Odeon in central Dublin, where Irish Eurofans had assembled to celebrate the victory, followed by a watch party. Bambie was very gracious and patient as hordes of excited Eurovision fans queued up to offer congratulations and get a picture, myself included. They seem intent on bringing everyone on the journey with them, and I think Bambie will appeal to many Eurovision fans from different walks of life. Doomsday Blue, I think, is at the height of alternative artistic creativity and represents a complete step change from what we have ever sent before. There is a blend of multiple different music styles, and on paper it shouldn't work, but somehow it just does. The argument is often made about sending something from Ireland that people would never expect, and the finger pointing from the pulpits has already begun. However, as we all know, Ireland has moved on and is a nation that is rich and diverse, and surely there has to be room for everyone, Bambie included. Bambie implored people before the Eurosong competition to send the witch, and Ireland responded by indeed putting forward a non-binary witch to represent them on the Eurovision stage. As I have explained before, Bambie's music is hot creativity. It is an interesting blend of many different styles, and upon researching their back catalogue, I have had the joy of discovering the many different sides to their music. When chatting to Bambie before the final, they committed to working so hard in Malmö, and I truly believe that they will. Looking ahead and assessing Bambie's chances of the long-for-sought qualification, I think things are looking good. Turning to the positives first. The UK, Germany and Sweden can all vote in Bambie's semi-final. The UK typically responds well to Irish music, and there is a large Irish diaspora who call the UK home, and Bambie, having lived in the UK for many years, already has a fan base there. Bambie's song was even played on popular radio station BBC Radio 1. Bambie's music is also something that the German public are sure to love. Bambie themselves is half Swedish, so that should hopefully count for something come voting time. Bookies at the time of recording have Ireland in the top 10, so this would bode well for qualification hopes. There are also 15 countries in semi-final 1, which again should improve their chances even more. The only negatives for non-qualification are Slovenia's entry has a gothic witchy vibe, and it may end up cancelling Bambie out. There is also the risk that Europe just might not get it or understand the artistry. Semi-final 1 is by no means easy, as was the case last year. Serial Eurovision qualifiers Ukraine are in the semi-final, as are Finland, who are on a hot streak, and returnees Luxembourg are likely to be shown much love after such a lengthy absence. I was fortunate enough to get an interview with Irish Head of Delegation Michael Keeley, and the mood in the Irish camp this year is one of optimism and positivity. It could be that Ireland's fortunes are finally turning around, and I for one can't wait to stand in Malmö Arena and hear the word Ireland being called out by either Petra or Malin at the end of semi-final 1 on the Tuesday night. It has been far too long, and Bambie could be the catalyst to finally start turning things around for the nation. Michael Keeley, the aforementioned head of delegation, said that he wants his lasting memory of Eurovision to be him in an open-top bus with Eurovision victor Bambie Thug making their way to Dublin city centre from the airport. Could this dream become a reality come May time? Time, of course, as always, will tell. So what are your thoughts on the national selection and an eventual victor Bambie Thug? How do you think Ireland will fare in just 3 months' time in Malmö? Let me know in the comments below your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video, but until then, take care.